Hey guys, welcome back to the FireRed LeafGreen 386 challenge, and today, we're finally moving away from the Johto starters and onto some of those first route Pokemon that actually is way more fun and unique than you may think. Sentret may not have an extensive moveset by level up. Heck, the best move it gets is Slam, which is an 80 power, 75% accuracy normal move. Not good, since I don't want to be missing 1/4 of the time. Instead, it has access to over half the TMs in the game: Water Pulse, Toxic, Ice Beam, Solar Beam, Thunderbolt, Return, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, Double Team, Flamethrower, Surf, you name it, it basically can learn it. This brings a whole new level of strategy for the run. However, its base stats are quite abysmal, as it only has a base 35 special attack and a base 46 physical attack, meaning that Return is probably going to be our best bet, as well as Shadow Ball. Anyway, let's get into the run. If you need a refresher on the rules, go check out the first video in this series on Chikorita. So, since Sentret is a normal type, it gets stabbed on the first battle, making it a breeze. Not very much to go off of here, though now that I'm thinking about Brock, I need to make sure I can KO his rock types, and since I don't have any access to any TMs before his gym, I'm stuck with normal moves. So, it's over to Route 22 for me. I need to make sure I grind up on Mankey to both increase my physical attack stat EVs as well as get Fury Swipes, since that'll be able to hit for around 2 damage a pop, giving a higher average than Scratch or Quick Attack or even Slam could give me. So after about 100 Mankeys, I basically got tired of doing it and moved on to the Viridian Forest. It probably would have been smarter for me to max out my attack EVs at this point, since there's no EV reducing berries in FireRed LeafGreen, but alas, I'll have to keep that strategy in mind for the future. Viridian Forest doesn't pose a problem, but Brock is a heck of a defensive monster, as his Geodude and Onix are level 12 and 14 respectively, and they both wall me and hit harder than me. Luckily, I have Defense Curl, so I'm able to set up 6 of those as Geodude does the same. This makes it easy enough for me to survive hits, but he can't reduce the amount of damage I do with Fury Swipes since I can always hit multiple times and have more of a frequency for critical hits. This is what I took advantage of against his Geodude on my second attempt. Despite the fact that I missed a few times, I took down his Geodude without losing an insane amount of health, giving myself an advantage over his Onix, since he can't increase his defense nearly as high without wasting time. That didn't stop him from residual damage thanks to Bind though, as well as outspeeding, meaning he was able to get quite a bit of damage off, but thanks to a high hit Fury Swipes and a few more of them, I managed to take it out alive with 1 HP. The hard part is over, and now I can avoid rock types and go after the TMs I need to defeat them. Trainers on Route 3 and Mount Moon were plenty enough to get me up some levels, so I figured I'd go straight after Misty. She has a TM for Water Pulse that would be immensely useful for some battles coming up. So I challenged her, and she mopped the floor with me. Though I could get past Staryu relatively consistently, her Starmie just took me out faster than I could deal damage. Oh well, I'll have to work without it for the time being. Rival 2, though, is doable. Pidgeotto is a 2-shot with Quick Attack, and Rattata is a 1-shot. I got slammed during this fight, so I replaced Scratch and used it on Squirtle. And oh boy, I legitimately missed 3 times in a row before it landed once. That's how bad Slam is. I KO'd Squirtle after another Slam and Quick Attack, leading to his Abra, which was a 1-shot with Quick Attack. On my way through Route 24, I figured giving Sentret the Thief TM I got from Mount Moon would be wise for rock types, as the Dark type is considered special in this gen, and it's neutral, so I'll be doing a lot more damage with it. Again, I'd like to have Water Pulse, but that's just not available currently. After getting the SS ticket, I figured now would be a good time to fight Misty. Staryu's a 1-shot with Slam, and Starmie is a 2-shot with Slam and Quick Attack. Even if I missed with the first Slam though, Water Pulse became a 3-shot rather than a 2-shot in my previous attempt, so I would have been fine anyway. Now that I got that, I also felt the Rocket here in Cerulean, and he gives me the TM for Dig, a physical move since the ground type is physical. That's nice for taking down Rock, Steel, and Fire types with my better offensive stat, so I'll be holding on to that. I arrived in Vermilion City and realized, oh boy, I'm really lagging behind the times of Cyndaquil and Totodile. I need to step it up. So I literally avoided every trainer on the SSN so that I could do the 3rd rival fight and get to Surge quickly. Pidgeotto is a 1-shot with Slam, Raticate avoids the next one but goes down to Slam, Kadabra's a 1-shot away from being KO'd with Quick Attack, and Wartortle barely is not a 2-shot with Slam, so I finish up with Quick Attack. Perfect! I made sure to avoid some trainers on the SSN though, so I could grab a few useful items like the TM for Brick Break, but aside from that it was relatively uneventful. Surge was also relatively easy thanks to Dig, as Voltorb was a one-shot, though it outsped with Shockwave, Pikachu's a one-shot but wasted its time with 2 double teams, and Raichu, though it paralyzed me, I managed to get through with a one-shot, despite the fact that he set up 3 double teams. I didn't realize how much of a jerk Surge could be if you let him get out of hand and not have some good luck. Moving onward through all the routes in Rock Tunnel, Celadon is our next stop, and I managed to get a few levels before making it there, but there's one thing I need, and that's the TM for Ice Beam. I skipped quite a few trainers on Route 8 since I thought I had enough money, but I didn't. So I fought all of the ones I skipped, as well as the Rocket Hideout and Erica's gym trainers, which still didn't give me enough money. Oh well, I may as well try Giovanni, since I can move over to the Pokemon Tower after that. He leads with Onix as I use Dig, which is a 2-shot. Rhyhorn is the same, leaving Kangaskhan. It's really strong, so I'm lucky that I went for Quick Attack, landed Slam, and then hit another Quick Attack, since he completely obliterated my HP with Mega Punch. Either way, I grab the Silph Scope and get the heck out of there, moving to the Pokemon Tower since it's time for another rival battle. I grab Return before doing so, just south of Lavender Town, so now I can obliterate pretty much everything on my path. Pidgeotto is a 2-shot with Water Pulse and Return. Growlithe is up next, so Water Pulse KOs, with Execute coming out, and oh, even with a -1 attack, Return is a 1-shot on both it and Kadabra. Even Wartortle could barely survive. Jeez, I didn't even realize how powerful that could be on a basic normal type that had a half-competent attack stat. Anyway, I got through everyone in there and grabbed the Poke Flute from Mr. Fuji, and now it's time for the kicker. I was getting decently behind on time at this point, so I figured I needed to have a good grinding spot that didn't take a long time, and to avoid most trainers for the rest of the game. I grabbed 4 pickup Meowths on Route 5 because, hey, they can grab rare candies without me having to level them up, so that'll be remotely useful for saving time. After running through the half-dozen bikers on Cycling Road a few times with the Versus Seeker, I went down to Fuchsia City and grabbed the Double Team TM and Surf HM. Since Sentret can learn Surf, I can go where I want to without having to wait for Silphco and getting Lapras. So, after clearing out Koga's gym trainers, I figured I'd fight him before going off to Cinnabar. He starts with Coughing, which is a 1-shot with Hidden Power, since I have Hidden Power Psychic, which is a great type for this gym. I got it from picking up with Meowth, of course. Muck goes down to Hidden Power and Return. His second Coughing is a 1-shot, leaving just Wheezing. Luckily, it's a simple 2-shot thanks to Hidden Power, even though he poisoned me and did massive damage with Sludge. Not bad for a level 53 Sentret. Thinking about it, Hidden Power is going to be really useful against Agatha, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, it's time to go handle everything on Cinnabar Island. I took out the Pokemon Mansion and Blaine's gym trainers with no problem, but I lost about 10 times to Blaine, so I came to the conclusion that I needed more levels. Not a problem, so back to the half-dozen bikers. Since there's so many of them in the vicinity, I can easily just use the VS Seeker and get at least half of them to respond, rather than being around 2 or 3 and only getting 1 a rematch per charge. I got up to level 58 and said screw it, I may as well just fight the Silphco and get those levels too, since I have to go through them anyway. So, getting to level 63, I went for the rival battle, and it didn't go too badly. Pidgeot outspeeds, but Return is a 1-shot, Surf is a 1-shot to Growlithe, Return is a 1-shot to Execute, Return is a 1-shot critical to Alakazam after it sets up Reflect, and Blastoise just spams Protect for some reason in this fight, so I just kept going for my newly learned Amnesia, maxing out my special defense before beating him up with 2 returns. KOing pretty handily. I didn't even need the Amnesias, though I admit if I got hit with any water moves, they would have definitely come in handy. Anyway, on to Giovanni again. Since I got few more Hidden Power TMs from pickup, I can actually switch around my moveset with other TMs and it not be that much of a threat, but that's not too important in this fight since Giovanni's a joke. Nidorino is a 1-shot with Hidden Power, Nidoqueen's a 2-shot with Surf, Kangaskhan fakes me out, but Return is nearly a 1-shot, so I finished it, leaving just Rhyhorn, which goes down to a critical Surf. Awesome, I think I'm high enough level to challenge the remaining gyms now. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the next 3 within a lightning round. Sabrina leaves with Kadabra and Reflect, but it's not enough to stop Return from being a 1-shot on both it and Mr. Mime. Venomoth is barely not a 1-shot with Hidden Power, so she starts spamming Hyper Potions until she gets tired, allowing me to KO. Last up is Alakazam, and just in time, since Reflect went down, so Return is a 1-shot. Next up is Blaine, and with my new level difference, it's not actually terrible. I set up an Amnesia as Growlithe misses with Fire Blast. so I take it and Ponyta down with one Surf each. Rapidash is out next, and wow, that's really low damage for Fire Blast, that's crazy. It goes down to a single Surf, leaving just Arcanine, which is barely not a one-shot, so I just spammed until he stopped healing, getting off a final Fire Blast before he went down. 2 down, 1 to go. Giovanni starts off with Rhyhorn going down to a single Surf, leading into Nidoqueen, which is a one-shot critical with hidden power. Perfect. Nidoking is out next and hits Earthquake before I KO with a single Surf, leading to Dugtrio to do the same. I'm at low health, but I know his last Rhyhorn can't outspeed, leaving me to KO with Surf and pick up the Earth Badge. But now I know for sure that I'm not ready for the next rival battle, since that battle actually got me to low HP, and usually Giovanni does not do that. So I need to go get those extra levels over in the Sevi Islands, which is exactly what I do. I guess not exactly. I did try my hand at the rival battle, and got my butt handed to me thanks to a combination of Feather Dance and Pidgeot outspeeding, leading to me only getting through 4 of his Pokemon before he obliterated me with Alakazam. One Sevi Islands trip later, and I fought him again at level 71. Unfortunately, Return is not a one-shot on Pidgeot, so he gets off 2 wing attacks leading to Rhyhorn. I set up an Amnesia for his later Pokemon as he uses Takedown, which doesn't do too much, but I am lacking health. I take it down with 1 Surf, along with Growlithe, which rears its ugly Intimidate ability, and for some reason I use Hidden Power on Execute, which is not a good idea because it's Psychic type, so it manages to paralyze me before using Solar Beam for minimal damage, before going down to Return. Next up is Alakazam, who doesn't attack, leaving me to KO with 1 Return, leaving just Blastoise, but as usual, Alakazam's Future Sight attack goes off 1 turn before I KO his last Pokemon, so I used 1 rare candy so that I could get that power boost to one-shot Pidgeot. Luckily it works, and I take him out much more easily on the next attempt, as well as using a Cherry Berry on Execute so I wouldn't be paralyzed for half the battle. It's surprising just what 1 level in a held item can do for you in a tough battle. And with that, Victory Road time. It's not bad at all, and I emerge at level 76 with numerous rare candies from the adventure and from pickup, so I should be set. I grabbed the TM for Thunderbolt from the game corner right before entering, and I replaced Hidden Powers since I have plenty of those TMs still on standby. Anyway, it's time for Lorelei. She leads with Dugong, which is an easy target to set up 2 Amnesias against, allowing me to 2-shot it with Thunderbolt and have good defense for the rest of her team. Cloyster's a 1-shot with Thunderbolt, and Slowbro is a 2-shot, only nailing Surf for minimal damage. Sadly though, Lapras is able to break through with Body Slam paralysis and I go down. I guess I'll need a few more levels. So I used a few rare candies to get me up to level 81 before challenging again. Dugong's a 2-shot again, and Cloyster's a 1-shot, but I have significantly more health this time. Sadly, I didn't set up Amnesia, and Slowbro knocks me down to really low health along with Lapras. But I got past them. Perfect! Jinx is an easy outspeed away, and goddammit, I thought I was faster than that stupid thing. More rare candies it is. Level 83 should be enough. Dugong's a 1-shot critical with Return. Cloyster's 1-shot with Thunderbolt. Luckily, using Returns caused Slowbro to use Amnesia, so I KO'd with another Return, leading into Lapras with full health. This is the attempt for sure. Lapras is a 2-shot with Return, even with its Citrus Berry leading to Jinx. And of course it outspeeds and lands Lovely Kiss. It's over. Or is it? I wake up with 4 HP remaining and KO with Return. That's right, suck it, Lorelei. You're no match for a simple ferret. Next up is Bruno, which is more of a threat this time because he's using fighting types against a normal type. Onix is a 1-shot with Surf, but Sky Uppercut does around 75% of my HP, and he outspeeds with both Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, so I go down. I rare candy to level 86 to see what that does, and nope, still obliterated by the likes of Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. I went up all the way to level 90 to see if that worked, and no, it did not. Even though I outsped Hitmonchan with a 1-shot Return, Hitmonlee still outspeeds. But it was also a 1-shot though, but Machamp just KOs me. Great, I need to use the last 2 rare candies to level 92. Please, please, please be enough. Okay, I finally got past it. I got the 1-shot high roll on Machamp. Phew, I was worried that I was screwed up. Anyway, time for Agatha. I taught Hidden Power over Thunderbolt since I won't need it for the rest of the run. Whoops, I didn't heal. And even when I did, I got murdered twice. In short, I need more levels. I thought I'd be able to win in the 80s, but I guess I need to be in the mid-90s. That's gonna spell trouble when I get to the Elite Four round 2. Anyway, after a short grind, it's back to Agatha at level 95. I got the one-shot on Gengar with Hidden Power, but of course, Golbat crits with Air Cutter before I take it down with Return. I hit another Return with a crit on Arbok, so I got to her second Gengar with a good amount of health. Unfortunately, it's not a one-shot, so she just starts spamming full restores before putting Sentret to sleep with Hypnosis and using Nightmare. Luckily, I woke up the turn before I'd go down, KOing with another Hidden Power, leaving to her Haunter. Luckily, it's weaker than the other two Gengars, so it's a straight-up one-shot, leaving me with the victory. Good, at least I'm making more progress. Before Lance, though, I replaced Hidden Power with Ice Beam, since that'll be an amazing help for this fight. And somehow, I got past Lance on my first try, while I was struggling like crazy with Bruno. What a turn of events. He leads with Gyarados, which of course has Intimidate, so Return is immediately made worse. However, it helps here because it's turned into a two-shot on Gyarados without making him heal. Since if I didn't have that lower attack, he would have been easily in the red, and he would have healed over and over again. Next up is Aerodactyl, which outspeeds and lands a wing attack. Of course it's a crit, but my Surf is a crit one-shot, so I'm okay with that. Somehow the level 60 Dragonite comes out, and Ice Beam is a one-shot. It's also a one-shot as two Dragonairs, so I won immediately. That was oddly anticlimactic. I didn't realize Sentret's special attack was good enough to do that. Anyway, time for the champion. Pidgeot leads with Feather Dance as Ice Beam is a one-shot, leading to Alakazam to use Reflect. This makes Return not even two-shot, which is insane when you consider Alakazam's brittle defense. This leads to him using Future Sight, which basically dooms me. Executor is a one-shot after a bit of freezing shenanigans and full restores, and somehow I live with 3 HP from the Future Sight to take down Rhydon with Surf. Of course, he still had Arcanine with Extreme Speed, so there was no way I was getting past that. Luckily, during the grind, I got a few more rare candies from my pickup Meowths, so I maxed out my level and went in. I didn't want to have to do this, but hey, I'm using a first route unevolved Pokemon after all, and somehow, someway, I made it. Pidgeot used Feather Dance, and I figured I'd just use Amnesia, since after all, I'll mostly be using Surf and Ice Beam, so Return isn't really that big of a loss. I KO with Ice Beam, and out comes Alakazam, who sets up Reflect, but is a two-shot with Return. Next up is Executor, which is a one-shot with Ice Beam, and Rhydon's a one-shot with Surf. 4 down, 2 to go. Next up is Arcanine, and somehow the Future Sight attack failed, leading to an Extreme Speed and KO with a single Surf, leading to Blastoise. Luckily, my Amnesias come in handy as he tries to use Hydro Pump and does minimal damage, missing once before I used Ice Beam to get his health into good KO territory. I go for Ice Beam again as he uses Skull Bash of all things, so I just accepted my fate of having to re-challenge him again, but wait, I lived on 1 HP and KO'd with Ice Beam to win the match. That is insane, and I'll friggin' take it. Nothing like a good ol' win by the skin of my teeth. One post-game trip through the 7 Islands later, including some bosses that really don't put much of a fight up, and it's time for round 2. If I could barely get past the champion of round 1, then how in the world am I gonna get past him on round 2? Well, let's just see how it goes. Lorelei actually goes relatively well the first time around. Dugong is out first and nearly is a one-shot with Return, so she goes for the full restore, and I use Amnesia to take advantage, one-shotting on the next turn with a high roll. Cloyster is out next and uses Rain Dance, so I use another Amnesia, leading to a two-shot with Return as she lands a pitiful Surf. Piloswine is out next, and it's a one-shot with Return, and Jinx is out next. She misses a lovely kiss as I break through Confusion with a one-shot Return, leading to Lapras. It lands Ice Beam, basically doing nothing, allowing me to two-shot and win. I wish I had that much luck on round 1. However, it's time to fall. Next up is Bruno, who's even more threatening now with Steelix. Or, not really, it's a one-shot with Surf though, but the other 3 fighting types are still quite a bit of a challenge. Hitmonchan is luckily a one-shot with Return, Machamp is nearly a one-shot with Return, and oh boy, this again. Whoops. I sacrificed Amnesia for Hidden Power this time, since I figured this would help against the pesky fighting types of the team. Fortunately, I was kind of correct. Steelix is still a one-shot with Surf, and Hitmonchan is still a I misclicked and I'm gonna die, oh my god, I didn't die, please go away, give me a heart attack. Whew. Next up is Machamp, which actually takes much less damage from Hidden Power, but misses with Cross Chop, so I KO with Return. Hitmonlee is dumb and goes for Mega Kick, landing, but allows me to get the KO with Return, leaving just a second Steelix, going down to surf as the one did before. That was much less of a struggle than I thought it would be, but good frickin' riddance. Agatha's up next, and really isn't too bad either, as Gengar's a 2-shot with Hidden Power, Crobat's a 2-shot with Ice Beam, or would be if she didn't use a full restore. She confuses me and gets me down to 14 HP though, which leaves Arbok to just finish me with Giga Drain, so yippee! More attempts, more attempts. Second attempt goes well though, since I gave Sentret Double Team and a Chesto Berry to stall out on her first Gengar, which goes well even if I lost 2/3 of my max HP before taking it down with a mix of Ice Beam and Surf. Of course, it's barely not a 2-shot, but she gives up healing and lets it go down. Next up is Crobat, and misses Sludge Bomb twice as I 2-shot with Ice Beam. Arbok is up next, and Ice Beam does less than half, so I go for Return, and sure enough, it KOs. Next up is our level 70 Gengar, which is a 3-shot, or would be, again, thanks healing items. She gets me down to 10 HP before going down, leaving just Mischievous. Luckily, it tries for Thunderbolt and Psychic, doesn't land at all, leaving me to get a 3-shot and the victory. 2 more battles, let's finish this run strong. The second attempt on Lance goes well as I max out Double Team without him paralyzing me, allowing for a 2-shot with Return on Gyarados. Kingdra is a weird beast since I don't know whether to use Ice Beam or Return, so I just use 3 Ice Beams and it KOs. Next up is Dragonite, and it misses Hyper Beam, allowing me to 1-shot with Ice Beam. Next up is Aerodactyl, and of course it does massive damage with Aerial Ace, so I essentially can't bypass it with Double Team. I need to come into that part of the fight with enough HP to live 2 of them, or else I'm screwed. Next attempt, though, is the one. Double Team strats with a Cherry Berry on Gyarados led me to getting 6 of them up without him landing a single move, which is good since the Dragon Dances he set up, they would have killed me with either Earthquake or Hyper Beam. I try Ice Beam, which does less than half, so I use Surf to chip down his HP before nailing a Return. Next up is Kingdra, which is a 2-shot with Return, which I knew that before. Anyway, level 66 Dragonite is a 1-shot with Ice Beam, leading to the Aerodactyl again with full HP. Luckily, he doesn't heal with a full restore, allowing me to take down his only out from this battle. Last up is Dragonite, and it's a 1-shot with Ice Beam. Perfect. One more battle and we'll prove that our pet FireRed is one of the best things ever. I replaced Ice Beam with Thunderbolt so I could have an advantage over Blastoise, as Pidgeot's not even in the battle anymore, and sacrificing my advantage over Executor isn't a problem since I can just use Return on it. And amazingly, my first try ended up being the one I needed. I started double teaming as Heracross expected me to use a normal move, so I kept doing that over and over again because he was trying to use Counter, which can't hit unless I attack him first, dooming Mega Horn to miss since he's so inaccurate and started using it later on. I also know that Counter bypasses the accuracy check, so I use Surf and then Return to take it down. Next up is Alakazam, which is a 1-shot with Return as always, and here comes Executor. It's a 2-shot, missing Sleep Powder, not much of a threat, so Blastoise was the right decision. Next up is Tyranitar, and it gets that Sandstream along with Aerial Ace, but luckily it's slower and only lands 1 as I KO with 2 Surfs. Next up is Arcanine, who attempts Overheat, so I use Return twice for the KO. I know that Surf would have knocked into the red health, so it's better that I do that, and not take more damage from Sandstorm than I need to. Anyway, last up is Blastoise, and it misses with Hydro Pump, allowing me to 2-shot him with Thunderbolt after his Citrus Berry prevents his AI from the healing range. And that was honestly the most ideal fight I could come up with after looking at his moveset. I think preparation instead of learning on the fly is probably the best thing I can do for these runs from now on. But with our Sentret as the lone Pokemon in the Hall of Fame on this file, let's look at the times. I changed around the rankings since I don't think that Sentret is anywhere near A rank since it was so much of a pain to get through the Elite Four both times. However, with its wide variety of moves to take advantage of, it made the main story quite fun. I think that Sentret taking down Koga at level 53 was the lowest level I've taken down a gym leader that late into the game so far, so I'm quite pleased with the scenario that turned out here. I'm starting to notice, though, a pattern that I legitimately need to use cheese strats, since the round 2 of the Elite Four here in FireRed and LeafGreen are no joke, and that you legitimately need either a well-balanced team or you're toast. I want to make these more entertaining, but it's nearly impossible if you're getting 2-shot by Lance's Gyarados because you didn't go for the double team and hope for the best. It's a luck game by this point, and honestly it's gonna get really bad once we get to Pokemon like Pichu, Togepi, Feebas, Azurill, all of those Pokemon are going to be dead on arrival, but hey, we won't let that get us down just yet. Next up though is Hoot Hoot, which is going to have access to a wide variety of normal, flying, and psychic moves. I expect it to be quite the troublesome bird to get through with though. Anyway, that's it for now. See you guys Friday with Hoot Hoot. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed this, make sure to click on the other videos on screen, you'll probably enjoy them too. And if you really enjoyed this video and want to help support me making more content like this, be sure to join my channel as a member to get access to videos 24 hours early, as well as to my Patreon where you can get access to the same 24-hour early privilege, along with many other cool perks such as tabs for my covers and medleys, challenge requests, private chats, and other cool stuff. Stay safe, stay healthy, I'll see you next time.